the 25th December 2022, Papa Cloverworks Santa bestowed upon us one of the greatest Christmas gifts a man can ask for. The greatest song of all time by Kesoku Bando.
I believe I can fly!
I mean, Bocchi the Rock episode 12. This was followed by a full 14-song album with music topping even the likes of BTS as a celebration of the 2023 resurrection of Jesus. Wait, no, that's Easter. Amongst these amazing songs, there is one that always stood out to me with not only its uniquely styled visuals, but vague and well-written lyrics. If I Could Be a Constellation. In Bocchi the Big fashion, they got some big names to write these songs, of which responsible for our song today being none other than Higuchi Ai. Yeah, the person that sang Akuma no Ko from Attack on Titan. No wonder these lyrics are so vague. Bocchi's brain cells got genocided! Before we hop into the lyrics, there are two things I would like to address. 1. I think this song is a message from Kita to Bocchi, indicated by the official MV having Kita as the poster girl and many lyrical references which I will explain later. The song explores what hides behind the smiling, extroverted positive energy mask and shows the hidden insecurities she secretly holds. It conveys what she truly feels about Bocchi and how much she looks up to Bocchi. It's a love song. What do you mean you can't sing a love song? It's the same fucking album! Hypocrites? 2. Because Kita has much less screen time and doesn't show her insecurities as directly as Bocchi, unlike Guitar, Loneliness, and The Blue Planet, a lot of this may come down to speculations based on observations upon Kita's actions and may end up a lot more theoretical than the former. In other words, I may be spouting bullshit. So instead of taking everything I say as fact, I do highly encourage you to have a look at the lyrics yourself and tell me your own thoughts. Moving straight into the first verse, the entire thing on surface level seems to be Kita's routine, or rather perhaps a random day of her going home. Just walking home after school in the evening, blending in with the crowd, looking at a single star, perhaps making a wish to fuck Bocchi. Things get way more interesting if we take the entire thing as a metaphor though. 6 o'clock means... 6 o'clock. I don't know, it gets dark before 6 in winter here in Japan. Look, we need to set the stage for the next sentence somehow. The single star, I think, refers to Bocchi. It's very clear in the anime that Kita looks up to guitar hero Bocchi and thinks her skills are extraordinary. We see how she praises Bocchi, how she wants the world to know how amazing Bocchi is, how she keeps eyeing Bocchi like a secret lover. So it's no surprise that Kita would see Bocchi as a shining star. The next line is where we start a theoretical deep dive into the abyss. Level 1 of the abyss would suggest that Kita is someone who wants to blend into the crowd. She is a people's pleaser and feels the need to do what society deems as normal. I think this because a look at her phone shows her activities as the normie activities, the exact image an average Japanese high school girl would give off. It doesn't feel like she does any weird or wild things. Of course, this could be a coincidence and she just genuinely enjoys all these activities, and even if she is doing it to blend in, she still seems to enjoy them. But I also say people's pleaser because of what happens in episode 3, where she lies about being able to play the guitar to become close to Ryo, and is unable to come clean and directly confront them until a miraculous confrontation with Nichika and Ryo. Then there was also handing in the Culture Festival application form and lying for a while, though she did come clean eventually. To me, this comes off as insecure about herself, caring about others' opinions of her, hence wanting to be normal, a part of the crowd. This specific part might be overthinking it, but I did wonder why they specifically said stepping on the shadows. As if I walked home every day angrily trampling shadows like they killed my family or something. There are two possibilities I thought of. The first one is that the shadows represent her true feelings/desires, and her stepping on them to blend into the crowd shows how she can't be true to herself and constantly puts on this mask to conform to others. The second possibility is that the shadows represent the opposite to a shining, bright star. According to my 2nd grade teacher, shadows are formed by light. Why? Shadows are formed... Praise my optics physics degree! If the only mentioned source of light here is the shining star and Bocchi is the star, perhaps Kita thinks her subpar guitar skills are bringing Bocchi's true abilities down and she hates it, hence trampling on these shadows, aka herself, the other side of the star. We've seen time and again how amazing Kita thinks guitar hero Bocchi to be, with how much Kita gazes at Bocchi and Anobando after the 360 no-scope 10-kill guitar solo carry, and this scene where she says, "You're so..." I can see how Kita would think she doesn't even hold a candlelight to Guitar Hero Bocchi. I also like this theory more due to the stark contrast between Kita and Bocchi's individuality. Kita is, like I said, a high school girl you could find anywhere on the streets of Tokyo. Bocchi, on the other hand, while not exactly delivered to your doorstep in the most optimal condition, is unique. I don't know if a crippling problem can be described as good, but it's memorable. Come on, this screams individuality. You could put this up in an art museum. It might be a far-fetched, but perhaps as someone who follows the crowd, she in a strange way looks up to this individualism, something she lacks. This is backed up by the scene where Kita tells Bocchi she can't shine on her own like Bocchi, because unlike someone with a quirk, a person who lacks individuality is just another human in the crowd. Hence, Kita is trampling the shadow, the thing formed by the star, the other side of Bocchi herself. Either way, in baby words, the point is, shadow opposite to star, Bocchi opposite to Kita. Kita look up to that. Grass greener on other side. Kita hate herself. Kita trample herself. The end. The third possibility is Shadow the Hedgehog. Kita finding only one star no matter how much she searches shows how Bocchi is the single person she looks up to. This is significant because she literally wanted to be Ryo's the daughter. The fuck is with Japanese high schools? But to put Bocchi as the only shining star shows that Bocchi is probably at a degree way higher than Ryo, despite all these scenes. Bocchi is the one person she looks at as if looking at her idol. This is further backed by how far away the star is. Millions of light years away, as if they're in two different worlds, two different leagues. Bocchi as the star that Kita feels she can only look up to and never reach. The next two lines are probably my favorite in the entire song, and probably the strongest evidence backing the theme of this entire song. In everybody's eyes, Kita's the popular girl loved by so many people. If you ask someone not just like Bocchi or a Reddit mod, but even the average potato, Kita is in a position they'd kill to be in. Who doesn't want endless affection? We're human after all. The first line is Bocchi expressing her jealousy, saying that it must be nice to have so many friends, to be loved by everyone. But strangely, Kita replies with how she's been alone this entire time. Alone. Alone? Alone? Do you know the meaning of the word alone? Unless she fucking robotified people and put their raw flesh into machines like Eggman, this may seem to not really make sense. But what I think this line implies is how Kita truly feels about the love she receives. It's a problem present with some extroverts. Not that I would personally know, but having a large number of friends doesn't exactly equate to a large number of close friends, nor the level of intimacy and openness that comes with close friends. Even though they may seem popular, a lot of these friendships and relationships could very well be surface level or plastic. Not the kind of deep connection you look for in a good friend. You know, the, "What's up? How's your day? Wanna hang out after school? Nice, let's go." And then you end up hanging out, talking about the weather. "Oh, what kind of music do you like? What's your hobbies? Going to Starbucks?" Then maybe see them once every 3 months. I mean, it's not like you hate it. Hanging out is fun, and they're not bad people, but it's nothing more than a fun time. I can see how someone would feel isolated if all their relationships were to this extent, hence feeling alone with empty praise and love. It is also interesting to point out that Kita is the only one in Kesakubando without a tangible goal. Nijika, although could absolutely be talking out of her ass, says Kita wants to do something together with everyone properly. Perhaps wanting to do this long-term thing is her way of trying to form an actual proper connection with good friends by working to achieve something together. This connection with friends being her true goal. See guys, it wasn't about the music, it was about the friends we made along the way. Moving on to the chorus, a constellation is a group of stars forming a pattern. If Bocchi is the star and Kita wants to gather with her, and become a constellation, I see that as Kita wanting to be the one supporting Bocchi, helping her shine and shine with Bocchi, and Kesokobando, of course, yes. After all, a group of stars is always brighter than a single one. See guys, it was the friends we made along the way. Kita literally physically tells Bocchi, "It seems like I'm good at supporting everyone." It's like, I can be your Orion or your Taurus. If the star is Bocchi, then perhaps the starry night is Kesokubando, because by the laws of expansion, one star expands to 10 billion stars and one cute anime girl expands to 4 cute anime girls. A moment's wish amongst the fleeting signal might represent how Kita doesn't feel like the band is stable yet. It's not like they've achieved anything amazing yet as a band, and Ryo has first-hand breakup experience. Kita wishes for the band to stay together forever, but realizes it's possibly too soon to say if it will, hence the signal being shining yet flickering. Fingers being pointed at the starry sky, aka Kesokubando, not only refers to but perhaps Kita's wish of people watching Kesokubando, people looking up to Kesokubando, and being able to shine together with Bocchi as a constellation. That's why to achieve this dream, to continue performing, to be able to feel a genuine connection to her bandmates, she wishes for their connections to never be undone, for them to continue on being together. I think this line targets particularly Bocchi though, considering the next line. No matter how brightly I shine. POV. You are Kita. It's natural to see how Bocchi might be put off by her super extrovert energy, as Bocchi is, one of my people, a garbage bin resident. In Bocchi's eyes, Kita is like this shining beam of sociability, something she'd never be able to achieve even with 25 Super Saiyan forms. But Kita doesn't want Bocchi to leave because of this. She's scared of Bocchi being put off by it even, hence Kita telling Bocchi to not undo their connection, no matter how much she shines like a bright extrovert. Because in an ironic sense, even though Kita is the one shining with love, she probably thinks Guitar Hero Bocchi deserves it more than her. If grass is greener on the other side, then fire must also be hotter on the other side, because damn is this some spicy relationship. And also Kita probably thinks Bocchi is hot. We start the next verse with a time skip. Just like one of my shonen, such as One Piece, Two Piece, and 655 Piece. The skip is indicated by the time being 8 o'clock as opposed to the initial 6 o'clock in the first verse. In a similarly opposing fashion, instead of having one shining star, we have a night full of stars, where the one shining star is no longer in its original position. I think the 2-hour time skip could be indicating Kita's visions, or rather fears for the future. She fears that the original one shining star she looks up to so much, Bocchi, might move on out of her sight for whatever reason. Whether it be them drifting apart, Bocchi leaving her in the dust skill-wise, or every student's worst nightmare. Freshly graduated unemployment. Yes, the rest of the stars in the night sky, like the many bands in the industry, can shine brightly, but her one shining star, Bocchi, is irreplaceable no matter what shows up. Why? Because the moon is beautiful. Oh shit, this was a Yuri all along. Bocchi the bottom. In case you didn't know, saying tsuki ga kire is a very traditional way to confess. Yes, like lover confess, the I love you kind. Kita loves Bocchi yet wants to cry because of the fear of parting. She's scared of the future. She's just like me. She's just like me for real. If only Kita could be by Bocchi's side supporting her, like a beautiful comet wiping out the dinosaur species saying skill issue. The comet is most likely talking about Bocchi for multiple reasons. 1. It's talking to itself. Bocchi is the only one in the show that consistently does this while metamorphosizing. 2. I know that stars and comets aren't exactly the same scientifically, but look, we were literally just talking about moving stars. It doesn't get closer than that. The kanji for star is literally in the Japanese word for comet. Shut up, astronomy people. 3. Hitorigoto. Get it? Like, Hitorigoto Bocchi. Wait, her name's a pun. Oh. Prism might be a little more abstract because you might be imagining a literal prism-shaped container, but the physics people would know that a prism can also be a glass thing that turns white light into a spectrum of colors. That's why I think this comet Bocchi, moving forward, disappearing, and spreading color to the dark night, represents Kita's fears of Bocchi reaching greater heights leaving her behind. She thinks Bocchi, with her skills, can truly reach unfathomable heights, influencing many people, yet it is this very skill that implants fear in her. The fear that she will be left behind skill-wise, or perhaps simply Bocchi one day leaving Kesokubando because of her insane skills. She did literally solo carry save their very first live performance. And so Kita wonders, if her earnest wish for Kesokubando to stay together, for her and Bocchi to stay together, comes true, would the abyss of the night still be able to glow with a spectrum of colors? Would the night still be able to change? Or would it remain dark and lonely? Is Kesokubando actually holding Bocchi's true skill back? Would Bocchi glow brighter with a spectrum of colors and reach greater heights without Kesokubando? Obviously you and I can say no, probably not, but in Kita's eyes, Bocchi is this guitar prodigy. She constantly says how she wants to show everyone how amazing Bocchi is. And it's not just the guitar. Kita thinks Bocchi is full of personality and thinks everyone should love Bocchi. She said it herself. And so she wonders, is this spectrum of colors in the dark she envisioned in her head really achievable with someone like her around? Someone that lacks true talent for the guitar. Someone who lacks individuality. Someone who's only following others' footsteps with both the guitar and life in general. Someone like her who traces others. God damn, do happy people have deep demons sometimes. Never take that genuine smile for granted. Onto the bridge, far distance most likely refers to how different Bocchi and Kita are. Their personalities, hobbies, quirks, literally everything about them is the polar opposite of one another. One has no friends, the other has befriended half the human population. One likes the attic they've been locked in, the other is trying to be one with nature like that Chinese poet. One destroys biological functionality through negativity and the other through positive shiny rainbow. They live in two completely different worlds, yet somehow they met. Kind of like Chisato and Takina. Kita thinks this is due to karma, that they met because of fate, because of destiny, and so no matter how many times this is repeated, they would still end up with this fateful encounter. The place being between the clouds strikes as an interesting choice to me. If Bocchi is a star all the way up in space, then perhaps meeting in the clouds is a declaration of hard work. Kita knows that she can't catch up to Bocchi, that she can't go as high as Bocchi, but she'll do her absolute best anyway and hopes Bocchi can come down to the clouds, perhaps to guide her, perhaps to not leave her behind. But either way, Kita hopes she can walk this path together with Bocchi despite the skill difference. A beautiful sentiment to a beautiful relationship. See weebs, with hard work, you too can turn your life around and be appreciated by others. Maybe you'll even find love like Kita one day. In the final chorus, Kita, like a broken Windows computer, states for the 15th time that she wants to be a constellation with Bocchi. She wants to broaden the night and draw this impossible pipe dream. The dream part seems to be pretty obvious, being to grow as Kesokubando and shine together with Bocchi on stage. Be with Bocchi together, go to a love hotel and do things. Typical couple stuff. If we're taking the Starry Night as Kesokubando, and people looking to them, pointing towards them in admiration as previously stated, then perhaps the night sky can be taken as the performing stage. The stars standing brightly on the night sky, being Kesokubando shining brightly on stage. This would explain the phrase, broadening the night, as Kita wants to perform on bigger, greater stages. Hence the next line, shining on the darkness, giving a shining performance. Even if it's not a full moon, is a pretty interesting follow-up though. The last time the moon was mentioned since the Moon Nazis was the love confession and how Kita feels like a parting will eventually become a reality. If we're taking Kita's skill issue as the main reason for the fear of parting, then perhaps the moon refers to the level of skill, or how good they're playing. Kita is saying even if they aren't perfect, even if she can't give a flawless performance, even if Bocchi can't play at full power like she does in her Guitar Hero videos, it's okay. Kita just wants to shine with the Bocchi she knows and loves. That's why she wants to gather and become a constellation with Bocchi. That's why she wants to support Bocchi. It's to shine together with Bocchi as a spectrum on the light in the night sky, just like the beautiful prism she previously visualized in her head. And so she asked Bocchi to not undo their connection, but for a different reason this time. At first it was because she was afraid her super extrovert energy would put Bocchi off. Hence, no matter how brightly I shine. But as time goes on, it becomes no matter how brightly you shine. Because Kita can foresee a future where Bocchi leaves everyone else behind skill-wise and goes on to do great things by herself. She sees this potential, so she asks Bocchi to not lose connection with her, no matter how great Bocchi becomes. What a fucking poetic ending to this time skip theme song. Could even use it in situations such as this. Looking at the entire structure of the song, it really is a beautiful way for a person who looks like they have everything on the outside to tell someone who looks like they have nothing on the outside that they're actually talented and loved. What a heartfelt song from Kita to Bocchi. Or is it? What if I've been lying to you this entire time and you've been listening to my bullshit rambling for the past like 20 minutes? Kids, this is why your parents told you not to listen to strangers. Because this song could also very well be a song from Bocchi to Kita. Could. I said could. See, it may look very strange on the outside, but flip the extrovert-introvert and guitar beginner guitar hero dynamics, and you can actually see similar results. Bocchi has always been portrayed as this person with zero self-esteem, but just as Kita is confident in her socializing abilities, we can see in the anime that her guitar skills is the one thing she has built confidence on over time. What if wanting to blend into the crowd is just an expression of how Bocchi wants to be normal and not a social anxiety mess? What if Bocchi is the one who has to tell Kita, "No, I have always been alone"? Because Kita sees all the love and attention Bocchi gets in Starry, and thinks Bocchi has built up genuine deep connections unlike her. What if the entire song is just Bocchi telling Kita how much she looks up to Kita's extrovert energy, and how she wants to shine together with Kita, hoping Kita's extroverted personality doesn't lead her to go connect with many more people, leaving Bocchi behind? Deciphering the entire song once again shows that it works surprisingly well. And that's when I realized, this had to have been done on purpose. I mean, it's the song being played in the school festival when Kita does the ad-lib guitar and Bocchi does her solo, helping each other shine in a way. It's kept vague on purpose, not just because a two-sided love song is a genius song concept, but to show how Bocchi and Kita are just two sides of the same coin. While looking to be complete opposites on the outside, they share the same insecurities and fears on the inside. The fear of not being accepted by others, the fear of their own incompetency, and the fear of being left behind by each other. It's because of these insecurities and self-esteem issues that they look to each other's exteriors, the complete opposite of themselves in admiration, sharing the same dream to shine as a constellation, as a band, and be together for days to come. Why the hell is an original song made for the anime so fucking deep and well written? This has no right to hold so much meaning in an anime about cyberpsychosis and blender animation. English degree holders wish their lives held as much meaning as this song. I really like what this song tries to convey because it shows how multi-dimensional these characters are. It's not just the generic extrovert and introvert story. It's not just extrovert have friend, introvert no friend. It's a complex look into two human characters and their admiration, longing for one another, almost as if blind to their own strengths. It's a dive into the insecurities of two different yet same people. It's a depiction of a beautiful relationship between two sides of the same coin, and it is amazing. God, I sound like a pretentious literature student.